Hey, this is my third tutorial in Aerofly FS2, and today we're going to do some decals. The decals are basically the graphics that sit on top of your runway, in other words, your runway markings. So let's get started. First thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at our multi-texture, or I'm using a multi-texture, but you can use a standard texture. If you have, like for example, today what we're going to do is we're going to do runway markings and taxi markings. The runway markings are white, the yellow, the taxiways are yellow. So I'm creating a multi-thing, and so I don't have to switch between the two graphics. So I'll leave that open and bring it up, and we're going to do a plane. So we'll just create our plane right here like this. Okay. And then we're going to assign our texture to it. Oop, make sure I click that. There we go. Okay, so you can see it is there. And then we'll go to a poly, bring up unwrap UVW, and open the UVW editor. And we're going to select our first one. That's because I know that that's where the white is. Okay, it'll take a few seconds to come up here. Simply because the texture is fairly big, so. Okay, so we highlight all the faces. And then we're going to go to mapping, flatten mapping, and just select the default. We're also going to go in under options, and we're going to go use custom bitmap size so we can see where it is. So now what you got to do is you got to fit all the red faces inside of this gray area. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to rotate. Okay, and then we're going to scale it down a bit, and then we'll move it into place. So that's where we put it. Okay, so now it's textured. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to break this. I'm going to collapse it all down to an editable poly, and we're going to name it. And we're going to name it runway marking underscore decal underscore PRIOR priority 0. So it's at top level. And I just want to make sure I got that named right, so let me select that. I'll Control C that. And I'll paste it in. So we're going to make it priority 0. So that's runway 11. Okay, so runway 11 decal. So that's how you create a very simple decal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what I've done, because I've already done a fair amount of this airport. So I'm going to unhide by name. Leave that, and then unhide all this, and then hide my reference. So I've got a whole bunch of decals already done for this airport, but don't worry, I'm going to go through and show you. So next thing we're going to look at is the TSC file, and it's simple. It's similar to what we did for the ground object or the runway. You do the same thing in there, except this time it's type decal. And of course, the geometry name is CYQM underscore decal, because I'm doing a different airport, or CYQM. So I go back here. I Control A for all of these, and export item selected, CYQM underscore decal. Double click on it. Yep, I'm going to overwrite it. It is a scenery place. Okay, so we make sure we don't have any warnings or errors, which we don't. And exactly the same as the other one, we run our content converter. Again, I'll open this up just to show you. There's nothing in there that's changed in terms of how to do decals. This is just the converter. So we'll close that, run that. Yeah, we have lots of errors, but that's only because of the various textures and stuff like that. So that's fine. As long as you get 3 geometries converted, and if you were to add any new textures to your directory, you'll also get textures copied. Okay, so that's how to do a simple decal. Now, what you would do, obviously, is you would do, let's unhide by name, and we'll unhide the plane. Now, obviously, on this runway, there's a lot of markings. So what you can do, of course, is if we we can take this one, and we can copy it. Okay, copy it over the spot. And we'll make a copy of it, and we'll rename it to priority 1, of course. And you adjust where it is, and you just keep on going. And then when you're done at the end, what you would do is you would take your root level and you would simply go attach. You attach these to it. Whoops. One of the problems you always got to remember is turn off your backplane. There we go. Okay, so select that, attach, and you would now attach all of the runway markings you can. Now that breaks it down into one much more manageable set of decals. In this case, it's the entire runway. So that's how you do runway decal. So now let's look at let's hide all this stuff, and we'll unhide my reference image. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create, I'm going to do one with a curve in it. Let's see if I can find a nice one to do. I guess it really doesn't matter. Okay, never mind. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create this yellow line. So this time we're going to do the similar thing, except this time we're going to create a line. We're going to go down here, take our line. Now, when you start a curve, I'm going to tell you this right now. Put a vertex at the beginning of the curve, halfway through the curve, and at the end of the curve. And I'll show you why in a second. So now we've got, really ugly looking line. But we go in here and we go to vertex, and if we take this vertex in the middle of it, right click and select Bezier, now we can make a nice little smooth line, see? And we can adjust that to however we want. So that's how to do Beziers. Okay. Now we go up the line. We've got our line built, but obviously this is literally a single pixel line. This would never show up in the game. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a sweep. And what a sweep does is it basically creates a shape along that line. Now, here's what I do. Under length, right click on these spinners, go to 0. Same thing with the thickness. Same thing with the corner radius. That gives you a flat polygon. And then you just adjust your width to what you want. Now, I've personally found 0.38 seems to work okay. And it creates a nice little, nice little line for you. Now we go up to our material editor, which we had before. Apply it again. And and then collapse it down and then change it to an editable poly. Okay, so we're going to select all the polys. And this time we're going to go down, and this is done for me because of my multi-material with my yellow in it is in my second material. So I'm going to set the material ID to 2 for all these polygons. And we're going to go down, and we're going to go to wrap the VW, and hopefully I don't run into my bug that I always run into. Open that up. Good. And this time we'll select the second decal, or sorry, the second graphics. And notice that we have the yellow, we have some nice letters. Okay, Control A. Now this time what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, except that we're going to make it really small. And this is where it gets a little tough to grab. Actually, I think I'm going to Control Z that and move it so that it's there. And we'll make my life a little bit easier here. Here we go. See? And now it's fully within the yellow, so all of the polygons will be yellow. Out here. And collapse them. And if I... Okay. And... Right. And we'll call this one taxiway. Taxiway decal. That's a taxiway decal. Now I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to, just to show you what I did. See, I've already created almost all of my decals for this. And that's how you do decals. Hopefully this helps somebody. So if you have any questions, just post them in the on the forum. And I'd like to thank Mr. Hotwing1 for creating the text-based tutorials that really allowed me to learn this stuff. Thanks a lot, man. So everybody have a nice day.